This video is a little longer than my others, but I'm going to take you down what I consider the best introduction to Tiger Mountain. Starting from the summit, we will ride down the first third of a blue square trail called East Tiger Summit, or ETS. It is a fast and flowy with a few minor technical spots. From there we will transition into OTG. ETS starts with some very well built berms, followed by a couple of small rock gardens, and a little feature that allows you to either jump over or roll through a root garden. This upper part of ETS is not very steep and is a great spot to get your legs ready and warmed up for more downhill after the climb to the summit. After a short distance, we cross the road. While you can ride the majority of the trails at Tiger Mountain via this other entrance without going to the summit, it is well worth the extra climbing as you will be rewarded with phenomenal views and a nice place to relax after the long climb. Near our turn onto OTG, there used to be this small optional gap jump on the right. Since the filming of this, it unfortunately no longer exists. Here we take a right over this well-manicured rock roll and start down off the grid, or OTG. OTG is one of the original mountain bike specific trails at Tiger Mountain. It is currently rated on signs and trail forks as a single black diamond, but in my opinion should have kept its original rating as a blue square. It does have a few easy technical features, but they are short and significantly easier than the other black diamond trails at Tiger Mountain. We start off with a few small tabletops and a rollable drop. As we continue, there are many natural gaps and tables that are all optional, and while some might be hard to see at first, the faster that you ride the trail, the more obvious they become. Here we're coming up on one of the hardest features on OTG. It is just a relatively steep rock garden that rolls down across the bridge. Once you have ridden it a couple times, it is actually fairly easy, but the first time coming into it can be a little bit intimidating. After the bridge, we come to this short little climb section. It feels a little bit strange after the downhill we just finished, but it is short and not very punchy, and once we get to the top, we continue back into the downhill again. A little bit before the halfway point, we come across two large stumps to the left with a rock garden to the right. The main trail goes through the rock garden, however there's a small chute between the two large stumps. I do like going between the stumps with a little chute, however it can be a little bit sketchy, especially when wet. I recommend giving it a look before attempting it. After crossing two very well-built bridges, you will come into the middle OTG climb. It is a fairly easy, short climb with a few small roots crossing the trail. Just be sure to have your gear set appropriately as you cross the bridge, because you won't have much time to shift during the climb. After the first switchback, the trail does start in a downward motion again. Don't be fooled, the downhill has not started. You are still only halfway through this short climb. Keep your gears low to get over this little root feature, and then you'll continue up a couple of manicured rock rolls before you get back into the downhill section of trail. On the right, you will pass the trail drop-in. It is a two-way, single black diamond trail that allows you to either access this section of OTG from the road, or continue up from OTG to the road and access the top of Predator. You will reach another very short, punchy climb before you continue on to the full downhill section of OTG. I recommend keeping your momentum, staying to the right to get over this big root section. It allows you to be able to make it to the top of this hill with little effort and get over a rock and root garden before continuing into the downhill. At this point, we will cross NOTG, or not off the grid, and continue on to OTG, off the grid. This section of trail has a few fun, easy switchbacks before dropping down the steepest part of grade. This section of OTG does have a few relatively easy roller drops that can be ridden at either slow or high speed, depending on your skill level. None of them are very difficult, but if it's your first time down, it's probably a good idea to stop and look at them before you ride them. After a couple of roller doubles, you will come through a flat section, followed by a relatively easy, moderate-sized drop. It's only about 24 inches, but it feels a little bit higher as you're also dropping into a corner off camber. It is fairly easy with a little bit of practice or if you have good bike handling skills, but it is rollable, and I recommend rolling it or at least looking at it your first time down. The lower section of OTG has a few flat corners that are a little bit difficult to navigate if you're not used to them or ready for them. It also continues the theme of relatively easy roller drops and a few small roller jumps. Everything on OTG is very rollable, and I still think fits perfectly into the blue square skill level rating.
Cheers, mate.
Near the end of OTG, there is a small horseshoe-shaped bend around a tree. On the opposite side of the tree is a small optional gap jump over a small root hole. It is my favorite feature on the entire trail. It is fairly easy and fairly low consequence, but is an actual gap jump. I recommend giving it a look before you attempt it, but it is a great little Easter egg on the trail. In the last couple of corners, OTG has a small rock roll and or drop, followed by a small step down. Both of them are very easy and rollable, but I recommend looking at them just like anything else before you attempt them on your first time down. Overall, I think OTG is a perfect starter trail for Tiger Mountain. It is a good mix of fast, flowy trail with a few small technical features mixed in that are all optional depending on your speed and skill level. It is a perfect example of all that Tiger Mountain has to offer and has a good access to other trails off of it, such as NOTG. At the end, you can either access fully rigid, continue up Cross Hall and ride either Atlas or EBAD, or continue up the road and ride down Predator. In this video, I am riding my 2023 Specialized Enduro S-Works, set up with a custom mixed wheel build. Thanks for watching Lions MTB Trail Tours. I hope you enjoyed another one of our amazing trails here in the Pacific Northwest. Please consider subscribing for even more trail tours coming in the near future.